Let's see the emergence and implication of cell theory. Study of cell began with the discovery of cell by Robert Hooke, who reported his work in his famous publication Micrographia. He prepared and studied thin sections of cork under a self-made compound microscope. He observed that the cork is composed of minute honeycomb-like particles which he termed as cells. According to Hooke, cell is an empty space bounded by thick walls. Very little information was added to this idea in the following century, and the work started in the beginning of the 19th century. Lawrence Oken, a German scientist, believed that all living beings originate from or consist of vesicles or cells. Jean-Baptiste de Lamarck expressed similar idea and said nobody can have life in its constituent parts or are not cellular tissue or are not formed by cellular tissue. In 1831, Robert Brown reported the presence of nucleus in the cell. Due to this discovery, Hooke's idea of the cell as an empty space was changed. It was later established that the cell is not an empty space. A German zoologist, Theodor Schwann, and German botanist Sheldon worked independently and came out with a theory called the cell theory. They found that the cell consisted of three basic parts: nucleus, the fluid surrounding the nucleus, and other thin covering or membrane bound organelles. The cell wall, they said, was an additional structure present only in plant cell, keeping in view the definition of the cell. The cells could be observed in plant as well as animal. According to the cell theory, all living organisms are composed of cell and cell products. Cell theory is one of the most fundamental generalization in biology. It has wide-ranging effect in all fields of biological sciences. After the cell theory was presented, many details of cell were studied, as a result of which the cell theory was extended. Rudolf Virchow, a German physician, hypothesized that new cells were formed only by the division of previously existing cells. To put in Virchow's word, omnis cellula e cellula, it was contrary to the idea of abiogenesis. Living things arise spontaneously from non-living things, one of the prevailing but controversial ideas about origin of life at that time. Louis Pasteur, one of the great scientists of all time, supplied experimental proof for Virchow's hypothesis by demonstrating that microorganisms could be formed only from existing bacteria. Original cell theory and Virchow's hypothesis gave us a basis for the working definition on living things. Living things are chemical organizations composed of cells and capable of reproducing themselves. August Weismann said all presently living cells have a common origin because they have basic similarities in structures and molecules. And it was shown that there are fundamental similarities in the chemical composition, metabolic activities, and structure. Although they differ in many respects, cells are basically similar but extraordinarily versatile. Cell is not only the structural but also functional unit of living organisms. So the cell theory is a very important unifying concept. The human naked eye can differentiate between 2 points which are at least 1 millimeter apart. This is known as resolution of the eye. This resolution can be increased with the aid of lenses. In a typical compound microscope, this resolution is 2 micrometer, which is about 500x that of the naked eye. A compound microscope is a typical laboratory microscope with at least different magnification powers. A typical ocular lenses could be 5x and 10x, but others also exist. Likewise, types of objective lenses are 20x, 40x, and 100x, etc. exist. The magnification power of the microscope is determined by multiplying uh, values of ocular lens and value of objective lens. Therefore, a microscope with 10x ocular lens and 40x objective lens will have a 400x magnifying power. This resolution will have, however, remain the same, which is 500x that of a naked eye. The source of illumination in such microscopes is visible light. In electron microscope, the source of illumination is the beam of electrons, and the resolution of microscope ranges between 2 to 4 angstrom, which make it 500 x greater than that of the compound microscope and 250,000 x greater than that of the naked eye. This means that 2 points which are 2 to 4 angstrom apart can be differentiated with the help of electron microscope. The revelation of complexity of structure of various cellular organelles is closely linked to the development of microscopy and improvement in the resolution power of the microscope. What are the salient features of cell theory which were present in the form are: number one, that all organisms are composed of one or more cells; number two, all cells arise from pre-existing cells; and number three, that cell is the basic structural as well as functional unit for all organisms.